Hi guys, it is Monday of week 5. Can you believe it? We are going to be on page 259, 260 today. And on Friday, we talked about compound measures, and today we're going to be talking about subtracting compound measures. So let's go ahead and get started. You'll need your paper, you'll need a pencil, you'll probably need scratch paper. If you're a person, if you're like me and you like to write a whole lot, then you'll definitely need scratch paper. So let's look here. We have subtracting compound measures. Borrowing before subtracting compound measures is sometimes necessary. Just like when we added compound measures and we had to convert some to the bigger unit, we will need to borrow with subtracting compound measures. So let's look at our examples. It says 4 feet 9 inches minus 2 feet 10 inches. Well, I want to look at this. We can liken this to fractions. Sometimes I might have a fraction that's like this: 4.5 minus 2 and 3/4. Okay? Well, if I were to have a common denominator, that would become 4.5 I'm making a common denominator, so that would be 4 and 2/4 minus 2 and 3/4. Well, I can't do 2/4 minus 3/4, can I? I cannot, so I'd have to borrow from the 4. I would take 1 from the 4, and that guy would become a 3. Then I would take my 2/4 and convert it to that 1 that I took, and I would convert it into fourths. So the 1 whole becomes 4/4, and I add it to the 2/4 that I already have, and I now have 6/4 minus 3/4, and that's easy to do, which is 3/4, right? So today we're going to be doing something similar along those lines. You guys have grown up with borrowing. And today we're going to be borrowing. It's just going to be different amounts of whatever we're working with. So if it's inches, we're going to be borrowing, changing feet to inches. If it's, sometimes we'll change feet to miles. Sometimes we'll change minutes to hours and things like that, okay? So the first example, we cannot do 9 inches, cannot subtract 10 inches, right? It can't happen. 9 cannot minus 10. So what we do is we go to the feet, we take 1 from the feet, and now there's 3 left, and we take those 12 inches in a foot. This is where our conversions come in very, very well, right? We got to have those conversions. And because there's 12 inches in a foot, we're going to add those 12 inches to the 9 inches. Now, what I really like about what this curriculum did is that they rewrote the problem. It is super important to rewrite the problem if you are borrowing, because sometimes we get so caught up in subtracting and borrowing and writing things and crossing out and everything else that our problem just looks like a crazy mess, right? So we rewrite it and it becomes a lot easier to work out. So 9 plus 12, what we did here, becomes 21 inches. 21 inches now we could subtract. 21 minus 10 is 11, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So 4 feet 9 inches minus 2 feet 10 inches is 1 foot 11 inches. Let's look at the next example they gave us. 5 hours 12 minutes minus 1 hour 23 minutes. Well, we're in the same boat here. We cannot do 12 minus 23. So what we do is go to the hours, take 1 hour away. Now there's 4 hours left. And we take that 1 hour, convert it now into minutes. How many minutes in an hour? 60 minutes in an hour. So we're going to add 60 minutes here. And just like they did in the last problem, they rewrite the problem. So now they took the 60 minutes plus the 12 minutes, and that became 72 minutes. So we can do 72 minus 23. 72 minus 23 is 49, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So 5 hours 12 minutes minus 1 hour 23 minutes is 3 hours 49 minutes. So it's kind of similar to what we did on Friday together as a class, except now we're taking from the larger. We're not converting the smaller unit into larger. We're actually borrowing from the larger unit and converting it into smaller units now. So let's look at our class practice. It says, subtract these compound measures, borrow if necessary. Okay, let's look at letter A. Now, guys, we may have to rewrite, but let's see if we have room. 13 pounds, 15 ounces, minus 6 pounds, 4 ounces. Can I do 15 minus 4? Is that possible? Yeah, so don't automatically assume that you're going to have to borrow. You don't have to borrow in this case, okay? 15 minus 4 is 11. Always labels. Super important that you're putting those labels on there. Okay, it is imperative that you put those labels there. This highlighter just does not work. I should not use that one anymore. Super important that you use labels, okay? Now, 13 minus 6 is 7. So my answer is 7 pounds, 11 ounces. Very easy. And most of the time, if you don't borrow, they're incredibly easy problems to work out. Let's go to B. 5 feet minus 3 feet, 4 inches. There's nothing in the first one. 5 feet what? Basically 5 feet, 0 inches, right? So this is where we would have to borrow. This is where our skills in borrowing come into play. Now, basically there's 0 inches here. And if you want to, write it there. That might help you to visualize that. So what I'm going to do is go to my feet, take 1 from my feet. So now I have 4 feet left. It's incredibly important as well, guys, that you're neat. If you make this messy, you're going to have a harder time understanding it. Okay, so be super neat when you work these out. Now we're going to take that 1 foot that I took and convert it into inches. How many inches in a foot? 12 inches in a foot. The ruler that I gave you guys to work with, it has 12 inches in 1 foot, and all foot rulers do. So I'm going to add 12 here. So I'm going to rewrite this to make it easier for me. 4 feet, 12 inches, minus 3 feet, 4 inches. Just like any subtraction, you always start on the right-hand side and work your way left. So 12 minus 4 is 8 inches, and 4 minus 3 is 1 foot. So 5 feet minus 3 feet, 4 inches is 1 foot, 8 inches. Okay, let's try C. Now we're moving into money. It's no different conversion, but it's no different to move into money. Letter C, I have 12 hours, 10 minutes, minus 5 hours, 25 minutes. Well, can I do 10 minus 25? Is that possible? Nope. So we got to go to 12. We got to go to the hours. We're going to take 1 away from 12, which becomes 11. Then we're going to take that 1 hour that we took and convert it into minutes. How many minutes are an hour? 60. So we're going to add 60 minutes here. And we're going to rewrite the problem so we don't get confused. Okay? 11 hours. 60 plus 10 is 70. So 11 hours, 70 minutes. Minus 5 hours, 25 minutes. Now I can do the subtraction. It's a little easier now. I'm going to go ahead and just put my labels first so I don't forget. That's probably a good practice if you want to start doing that. 70 minus 25, well, got to just do the subtraction. 10 minus 5 is 5. 6 minus 2 is 4. 11 minus 5 is 6. So my answer is 6 hours, 45 minutes. Let's move on. Ooh, gallons and quarts. How many quarts in a gallon? It's good to know that, right? It's good to know before. How many quarts in a gallon? 4. There's 4 quarts. We might just want to write that down. Equal 1 gallon. That's good to know so that we can work these out. Okay. I have 11 gallons, 2 quarts, minus 2 gallons, 3 quarts. Now, some of you guys would say this and be totally okay with it. Don't be okay with that. You can't do 2 minus 3. It's not possible right now at what level of math we're at, okay? Because I can't do 2 minus 3, I go to the gallons. Take 1 from the gallons. Now I have 10. How many quarts in a gallon did we say? 4. So I'm going to add 4 here. And I'm going to rewrite my problem so it's not so messy. So my rewritten problem is 10 gallons. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 quarts minus 2 gallons, 3 quarts. And I'm going slower to give you guys time to write. I think that's my number one thing on these videos that you guys say is that I go too fast. So I'm slowing down for you, okay? 6 quarts minus 3 quarts is 3 quarts. 10 minus 2 is 8, and we're going to label that 8 gallons, and we're done. So do me a favor, press pause, and please try E and F. Challenge yourself. Okay, let's check those. Letter E was 12 weeks, 4 days. Letter F, 1 yard, 17 inches. Be careful with letter F. There's not 3 inches in a yard. There's 36 inches because there's 3 feet and each foot has 12 inches. So 3 times 12 is 36. Pause it if you didn't get them right and look at mine and see what happened, okay? If you're totally confused, contact me and say, hey, Mrs. Ressini, can you please help me? I need help on these, and I'll gladly help you, okay? Now, the reason why I didn't really so much review before we started is because I knew that number 2 was coming up. And number 2 is finding the sums, and this is what we did on Friday. So let's find the sum. Sum means we are adding. Number or letter A, 1 hour, 30 minutes, plus 4 hours, 15 minutes, plus 2 hours, 25 minutes. Remember when we add, we just add up the columns first. So 5 plus 5 is 0. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So I have 70 minutes here. And then I have 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 7 hours. Now, question for you. Can I leave it 7 hours, 70 minutes? No, I cannot, because there are more, or there's 60 minutes in an hour, and 70 minutes is more than 60 minutes. So I have to take 60 minutes away, and I have to add 1 hour on the hour side, because there's 60 minutes in an hour. So I get 10 minutes over here and 8 hours. 8 hours, 10 minutes. Let's try letter B. We're adding, so we don't need to borrow. Don't get confused. When we add, we don't have to borrow. All we have to do is add up the columns. So 3 plus 15 is 18. And 205 plus 406. So let's do this in steps. 611 pounds, 18 ounces. Now, how many ounces are in a pound? 16. So you guys see how I'm asking you these questions? These are questions that you naturally should ask yourself when you are working through these problems. So because there's 16 ounces in a pound, I have to take one group of 16 out. So I'm going to minus 16 ounces, and I'm going to take that 16 ounces and convert it now into pounds, plus 1 pound. Okay, so I get 2 ounces, 612 pounds, 2 ounces. Try letter C. So I'm going to work out letter C on my own as you're doing letter C. And then I want you to look up at the screen and see what you have. Okay, if you're not done, press pause. But if you are done, check yours with mine. 11 feet, 5 inches. Okay, we have one more little section to do today, and then I'll give you your assignment for today. And we are doing our algebra. And you guys are getting so good at algebra. You're becoming my little algebra stars. So let's work these out. We have 3a. X plus 7 equals 2 to the 4th power. Now, does 2 to the 4th power mean 2 times 4? No. 2 to the 4th power really means, I'm going to use a darker color, it means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. What is 2 times 2? 4 times 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So I'm going to erase that because I've learned, or I've seen, that 2 to the 4th power is 16. So I'll rewrite it. X plus 7 equals 16. Now, how do I isolate X? How do I get X all by itself? Because that's the goal when you're having algebraic equations. The opposite of adding 7 is subtracting 7. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides of the equation, both sides of that equal sign. Plus 7 and minus 7, they cancel out. And I have X equals 16 minus 7 is 9. Now, am I finished? I hope you say no. I'm going to take this 9 and plug it into my original equation of X. 9 plus 7 equals 2 to the 4th power. 9 plus 7 is 16. We learned that 2 to the 4th power is 16. I get the same number on both sides of the equation, so my answer is X equals 9. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's move on. Okay, so I have X divided by 6 equals 15 minus 7. Always do the side of the equation, work out the side of the equation that does not have the variable. So let's do that first. X minus 6 is going to stay the same, equals, what is 15 minus 7? It is 8. Okay, now I have X divided by 6 equals 8. What's the opposite of dividing by 6? Because I want to get X by itself, so I have to do opposite operation. Opposite of dividing is multiplying. So I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by 6. Whenever I do a whole 6 multiplied by a 6 in the denominator, or 1/6, my answer is 1. So it cancels out. And I'm left with X equals, what's 8 times 6? 6 times 8 is the great 48. Let us check our answers now. We're going to plug in 48 here into that X. Okay, 48 divided by 6 equals 15 minus 7. 48 divided by 6 is 8. 15 minus 7 is 8. And I know it's hard to see that, but I get 8 on both sides of the equation, both sides of my checking. So our answer is X equals 48. Okay, challenge yourself. If you want to do C and D on your own, press pause. If you want to work with me, let's go ahead. Letter C. 5x equals 21 minus 6. Remember what I said with the previous problem. You want to work out the things or the stuff, I'll use stuff, on the side of the equation that does not have the variable, does not have the x. So 21 minus 6, what is that? That is 15. So I'm going to rewrite my equation. 5x equals 15. And now I have 5x. The x is multiplying by the 5, or the 5 is multiplying the x. So what's the opposite operation of multiplying? Dividing. So we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 5. Remember, guys, fractions are dividing. So that might be where some of you were confused. They're like, wait, she just made a fraction. But fraction is another way of dividing. So 5 over 5 cancels to 1, and we get x equals 3. We're going to check. We're going to plug this 3 in to our x. 5 times 3 equals 21 minus 6. 5 times 3 is 15 equals 21 minus 6 is 15. I get the same number on both sides of the equation, so I am ready to go. Let's say though, guys, and I want to go over this because I feel like it's super important. Let's say for some reason I got 4 as x. And I'm going to work it down here, but let's say I got 4. So I'm going to plug 4 into the equation. 5 times 4 equals 21 minus 6. Well, 5 times 4 is 20, and 21 minus 6 is 15, and 20 does not equal 15. So that's the point where you would tell yourself, uh-oh, I made a mistake somewhere. I have to go back and rework my problem, okay? The reason why we check is to make sure or to guarantee that we have the right answer for x. Okay, let's move on to letter D. Ooh, this one looks tricky, but it won't be tricky because we're going to just work it out step by step. We can do this. X minus 1 equals 5 plus 3 squared. Now in PEMDAS, what do we do first? Exponents, right? What is 3 squared? Does it mean 3 times 2 or 3 times 3? If you said 3 times 3, you got it. I'm just going to cross this off and write 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Now let's work it out. What is 5 plus 9? 14. So rewrite our equation. X minus 1 equals 14. What do I do with that minus 1? I want to get X all by itself. I want to isolate that X. You're right, I need to plus 1. And I get X equals 15 because 14 plus 1 is 15. Now let's plug in this X to the original equation. 15 minus 1 equals 5 plus 3 squared. 15 minus 1 is 14 equals, well, we know 3 squared is 9. 5 plus 9 is 14. We are good to go. X does equal 15. Hey, you guys did such a great job today. So I'm going to go ahead and give you your assignment for tonight. Just like you've been doing, go to Google Classroom and fill it out. Remember, you can turn it in up to 2 times. So your original submission, it'll show you which ones you got wrong, and then you can submit it again. You can submit it 2 times. But your assignment for today is for A, B, and C. And I want you to look at this. Look at the directions for 4 A, B, and C. You're finding the perimeter and the area, which means you are going to work it out twice. What is the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle? Perimeter equals 2L plus 2W. So you're going to find an answer for that. What is the formula for the area of a rectangle? Area equals LW, or length times width. Same thing for C. I'll just go ahead and write it here because it's the same thing. 2L plus 2W, and your area equals length times width. So for 4A, B, and C, you're going to have 2 separate answers. And then let's look at B. What is the perimeter of a triangle? Just add up all the sides. A plus B plus C. It doesn't matter which side's A, which side's B, and which side's C. I can label this side A, B, and C. It doesn't necessarily matter, okay? And for area, what's your formula for area of a triangle? That's a triangle. Area equals 1/2 base times height. Okay, so that should help you out a little bit. You also have 5, and on 5 it says find the circumference and the area for a circle with a 9-foot radius. First thing we do, draw that circle. Here's my circle, okay? And my circle has a 9-foot radius. We need to find the circumference and the area. What's the formula for the circumference of a circle? Circumference equals 2 times pi times radius. And the reason why we're using that formula is because they've given us radius. So that's the formula we're going to use. Area equals pi times radius squared. Now it is not 9 times 2. It is 9 times 9 because 9 squared times pi. Okay, and then you also have 8A, B, C, and D. C is like we did tonight for homework. For classwork, okay? Letter D, you need to find a common denominator first. It'll make it a lot easier for you to work it out. Denominator, okay? And letter A, oh, we got to move that guy. Remember, we always have to move it before we divide. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great day. If you are in 4th or 6th grade, I will see you later on today, and we will talk at our normal time. Bye, guys. You are doing fabulous. See you later. Bye.